5, 10, 15, 20. Oh, I forgot a finger again. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30.
Pull up a chair, pull up a chair. Here comes another chair chat. We're gonna talk tech. We're gonna talk tech, 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 tech.
Today on Chair Chat, we're going to respond to one of those emails that just keeps on coming up. Digital number talk. Is it a thing? Well, I know that a lot of people have been trying to figure out how to do number talk while teaching remotely. So lots of people have got fancy white paper and then you're sticking it up in the background. And lots of people are trying to figure out how to do it with basically a pad and maybe a marker. But there's some problems. And one is, how do you do this in the background and still focus on what's going on the screen? And how do you do this in the foreground and be able to have people actually see what you've written on it? Well, I think it's time to kick it with some digital tools. So let's get talking tech for teaching. So let's think number talks for a second. What are the two big things we need? One, we need a place where we can record students thinking as they solve mathematical expressions. And two, we need the students and we need them to be able to communicate quietly so we don't interrupt anybody's thinking. So this is a great time for me to introduce a couple of things. One is raise hand. If you haven't already started using raise hand, you got to start using raise hand. If you're in the view where you can just see the student squares, you'll be able to see little raised hands go up beside the student's mic off. But here's what's really awesome and what we're going to be using for number talks. And that is when I show everyone, I'm going to actually see it right at the very top who it is that has their hand raised. And this is how I'm going to be able to navigate during my number talk. So let's go on to the second part, something to draw on. Now, the tool that I like to use is called Explain Everything. Now, this is not a tool for student use, but as an educator, you are absolutely allowed to use it to broadcast something. And in this case, I'm going to be broadcasting a blank canvas to my students. So I'm just going to scooch this on over so that I'm able to see those hands as they go up. But what I'm going to do so that I don't have like a gazillion things going on the screen with their students is I'm only going to present one tab, and that's my Explain Everything tab. So here we go. So back over here on Explain Everything, I'm going to start by writing down the first question we're going to explore. And that question is going to be 6 times 6. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to ask my students to do some quiet thinking. And as students actually start to have an answer, I can ask them to do the raised hand function if I want, because this shouldn't be showing for them. Yeah, they can see it like way over in the little square, but most of their screen is being taken up by that whiteboard. So when I'll say, okay, everybody, let's talk about this question then. What product did you get? Now I'm going to cycle through and I'll have some students giving me whatever responses they are, and I might just make a little note of them over here. When it's time to actually explain everything, in this case being how they got there, I'm going to go through again and I'm going to say, who would like to talk us through how they got to the product of 36? And here I can see some hands raising right away. So I've got a couple of people. So I might say, hey, I'm here too. Can you talk us through how you got to 36? And they're going to say something along the lines of, well, I used my 5 facts to help me get started. So I know that 6 times 5 is 30. So you can see I'm driving the 5 up there, the 6 over here, a 30 in this section. And then the student explains that then they added one more set of 6, and that they know that 30 plus 6 is 36. Now, unless you have a nice pen to be working with, I'm just drawing numbers on the trackpad. So trust me when I tell you that my printing in real life is much better. So they're going to lower their hand, but I still have a couple other people with a different solution. So I might be like, hey, other student, how did you get to the product of 36? And they might say, for me, it's just a known fact. And so I'm going to represent it like this. 6, worst 6 ever. So I'm just going to quickly undo and do another 6 times 6 is 36. And they know the product is 36. And we can continue on. So I might ask a string of questions, which you can see I fast forwarded and represented here. In this number talk, I'm really focusing on the partial product, which is why I started with 2 and 5 to help build to 7, an in-between step here of just adding one more. And also importantly, I can do a screenshot and I can now save this and post it up on my classroom later. Try it out and see what you think about digital number talks. For more information on number talks, please visit my HDSB.